Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Crypto Space. In today's video, we are going to cover Kaspa, its recent price action, as well as a couple of interesting tweets and news for Kaspa, and of course, a couple of very interesting altcoin charts. So I am pretty sure that you don't want to miss it out. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and a quick note that this video isn't a financial advice. And now, without any further ado, let's hop into Kaspa itself. As we can see over here, Kaspa is currently trading at 17 cents of a dollar and is currently experiencing a little leg up of 0.6%, which is good, but obviously not great. But I do believe that great times are coming for Kaspa. Let's look at market cap. Market cap is currently trading at 3.9 billion USD and 24-hour trading volume is currently sitting at 56.4 million USD. So as we can see over here on that chart over here on CoinGecko, Kaspa is pretty much trading sideways, which obviously is a little bit boring. However, I'm going to show a couple of interesting charts that are going to signal that price for Kaspa isn't going to be boring in coming weeks and months. But let's first of all have a look at this piece of information over here. Kaspa has launched a fundraising campaign to collect the necessary funds to sponsor the Advances in Financial Technologies AFT 2024 conference, an academic event held at the Austrian National Bank. So I do believe this is a good piece of information, and of course event is because the bank is involved into that. So I do believe that this is going to drive more potential demand and accumulation by entities like banks, and that isn't any bank. This is Austrian bank, and Austria is a type of a country where banks pretty much have more liquidity and more money to invest into projects like Kaspa. But let me know, what do you think about this piece of information down below in the comments. And now let's have a look at this piece of information over here. We have new listing on Kaspa on exchange that's called HTX, and I know this is only futures, but it's still better than nothing. Of course, all of us are waiting for that spot exchange, spot listing on that exchange. And on the top of that, of course, the most important top tier exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. I do believe this is going to come in, but I think that Binance and Coinbase, they first of all want to fill up their bags with Kaspa, and of course they want to build up more liquidity. I do believe it's going to happen, but obviously nobody really knows when, and we are still early if it comes to halving, right? Halving is scheduled for the next month, so who knows, perhaps in 1 or 2 months we can see that great news about Kaspa listings. But let's have a look over here. Ethereum has a pre-mine that is over 63% of today's Ether in circulation. Kaspa had no pre-mine, launched with an empty Genesis block. And I do know that this could sound like a cliche at this point, but I think that this is something important to remind ourselves about. And now let's have a look at this piece of information over here. Important to note that Kaspa is the product of 10 plus years of research on scaling BTC. The work by Jonathan Sompolinsky and Aviv Zohar is cited by current top 10 projects like ADA, XRP, and countless others in the top 50. And now, of course, I'm not going to say that Kaspa is better than Bitcoin. Obviously, BTC is BTC. However, in terms of technology, that is better, right? I'm not saying that Kaspa is going to be like BTC in terms of ETF. Well, who knows what will happen in, let's say, 10-15 years time. Of course, if Kaspa is going to survive. I do believe it will. Some people say it won't, but I do believe that it will. And who knows, it could see number 2 on the list, right, on total market cap. But anyways, let's have a look over here. First of all, shout out to Miko Jenna on X. The upper rainbow band allows for a maximum bull market price of $3.88 in December 2025, where BTC historically peaks. 16 months later, in April 2027, the lower rainbow band crosses $3.88. Meaning Kaspa will set new all-time highs in early 2027. Well, so I'll tell you what is my opinion on that, right? So first of all, it all depends where BTC is going to experience a bear market, right? Because obviously that bull cycle isn't going to last forever. None of them did. And Kaspa isn't like a bulletproof type of a crypto that is going to pretty much grow even if BTC is dumping, right, entering the bear market. So it all depends where we are going to enter the bear market phase. I do believe that's going to be, let's say, 2026, beginning of 2026, perhaps even mid, but obviously that is way too early to estimate. Let's have a look at some numbers for Kaspa. So first of all, the current reward is 131 Kaspas, and the next reward is going to be 123 Kaspas, and the next reduction is scheduled in 3 days. So let's finally have a look at Kaspa itself. Maybe let's first of all cover the weekly, right? As we can see over here, everything is going according to the plan on the weekly chart, right? Kaspa is perfectly respecting the trend line that also serves as a resistance level for Kaspa, right? So everything is good. And if we are going to look at RSI over here, Kaspa is still nowhere near its previous all-time highs in terms of RSI over here at levels roughly of, let's say, 89, right? It didn't really touch that resistance over here, so we still do have a bit of a way to go on weekly, right, for Kaspa. So I do believe that this is a short consolidation for Kaspa. And now let's have a look on the daily time frame. Let me just zoom it out a little bit for you guys. Zoom it in actually, sorry. So as we can see over here, after we have achieved these all-time highs over here of 18 cents of a dollar for Kaspa, we had this pullback. But as we can see over here, that pullback didn't really last forever because that pullback was pretty much bought up very quickly. And this is the first signature that there is a strong belief in Kaspa and strong accumulation. And on top of that, we also have this chart, which is addresses that are holding over 100 Kaspas. And as we can see, that also shows us how big of a belief there is for Kaspa holders and accumulators. So let's first of all, now let's look at 4-hourly time frame and let's see what is brewing over here. Now, if I'm going to allow myself to draw this trend line over here, I would say, and a resistance as well, right? And I'm going to, let's say, draw a support roughly over here. As we can see, Kaspa is possibly gearing up for a much bigger move. As we can see over here, Kaspa is printing that ascending triangle over here, and we could possibly have a breakout to the upside. Of course, given the fact of what is going on in the market, I would say this is going to happen in coming days or possibly weeks. And now if we are going to look at the possible target over here for Kaspa, that will be, let's say, around 23 cents of a dollar, which is pretty much the same as I was saying in my previous updates. And now if we are going to look at the measuring tool on RSI on the 4-hourly time frame, right, that would be around 62% of pump if we would reach the same levels of RSI territory of, let's say, 84, right? So if I'm going to draw 63% from where we are at now, okay, I will have to zoom out a little bit. That will be, let's say, around 28, perhaps even 30 cents of a dollar. And do I believe it's possible? I do believe it's possible, especially given the fact of what is going on BTC, right? BTC pretty much has last way to go in terms of its resistance, right? Once we are going to break that resistance level for BTC, I do believe Kaspa is going to see new all-time highs as well. However, it is important that we are going to close on a weekly on that candle over here for BTC, which is going to close in 1 day and 17 hours at the time of recording this video. If you would be interested into keeping your Kaspa safe, make sure that you check out Tangem Wallet. And now you're probably thinking, what is Tangem Wallet? That is cold storage option for your Kaspa, and I do believe that this is much better way to store our Kaspa outside of exchanges on which pretty much anything might happen. And Tangem Wallet doesn't support only Kaspa, it also supports many different projects like BTC, Render, of course Kaspa, and many others. Like, you can check over here, you can type the coin over here and check if there is availability with your project that you are holding. As we can see over here, there are many safety features of Tangem Wallet chip, which is obviously good. And with my discount code, you can receive 10% off, and a link is down in the description below. And now if we are going to look from the standpoint of parabola for BTC and where we are at in this current bull cycle, we can clearly see that we have entered that parabolic phase over here, but obviously that parabolic phase is going to take a while. We can clearly see that we broke above that resistance level over here that leads us back to the previous bull cycle, and that is very, very bullish. And now let's have a look at this over here. If we are going to look at possible targets for altcoins, first of all, we haven't really smashed the previous resistance levels of $1 trillion for altcoins, so I do believe that this is still early for alts. And now, if we are going to look at this chart over here with possible targets over here, we could expect around $5 trillion for altcoins. That's of course excluding Ethereum and BTC. So you can just imagine how much money is going to flow into Kaspa. And now if we are going to look from the standpoint of Wyckoff accumulation, this is where we are at. We broke out of that phase D fully. We have already entered the phase E, and this is only up only territory now. And if we are going to look from the perspective of Gold Sim channel, we have already flipped green over here, and we have a very long way to go over here. And that is very, very juicy. I do believe that this bull cycle is going to be legendary. And if we are going to look from the perspective of Wall Street cheat sheet, according to the Scalping Pro, shout out by the way to the Scalping Pro, we have left hope territory. So we are going to soon enter optimism, belief, thrill, and euphoria. And of course, don't treat this as a guide, because obviously nobody really knows for sure, but this is roughly where we are at. And if we are going to look at this thing over here, shout out to Milky Bull Crypto. Altcoins market cap on macro super trend has finally confirmed alt season. As we can see over here, we are just starting with altcoins. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to be very big. And I do hope that you are not panicking if you are seeing a little bit of a pullback on Kaspa or any other altcoin that you are holding. That's it for today. I hope that you have enjoyed that quick Kaspa update, and I do hope that you will have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world. Peace and love, crypto.